Sometimes fate hides in the strangest places, in the steam of burnt diner coffee, in a buzzing phone you almost ignore, in the voice of a lawyer saying your name like it belongs in another life. Rachel Winters was 29, exhausted and invisible, the kind of woman who served smiles for tips and went home with aching feet and overdue bills. But that night, when her phone lit up for the 5th time and a calm voice said, "Miss Winters, you've inherited property from your great-uncle, Theodore Blackwood," something inside her cracked open. She didn't have a great-uncle, or any family with property. Yet by Friday she was driving through cold October rain, her beat-up Honda coughing its way along forgotten Vermont roads. She found the place at sunset, 40 acres of overgrown field and a silhouette rising from it like a dream half-remembered. A massive circus tent, its colors faded to ghostly stripes of red and yellow. It breathed in the wind, ancient and waiting. Rachel stood at the edge of the clearing, rain dripping from her borrowed coat, wondering if she'd stumbled not into an inheritance, but into a secret the world had buried for a reason. The man who met her looked carved from the land itself, weathered, slow-moving, but sharp-eyed. "Name's Marcus Webb," he said, voice rough as gravel. "Been taking care of this place 41 years. Behind him, the tent loomed like a slumbering creature. When Rachel stepped inside, the air shifted, cool, heavy, and alive. Dust motes danced through amber light leaking from the seams. The faint scent of rope, oil, and memory filled her lungs. Wooden bleachers sagged under time's weight, and silence pressed like a held breath. Her fingertips brushed one of the canvas walls and stopped. The stitching here was wrong, uneven, almost intentional. She tugged gently. Something shifted behind the fabric, a shape trapped within. Her fingers slipped through the seam and pulled. What fell into her hands wasn't trash. It was a painting, cracked but vivid, alive with motion. Villagers dancing in a town square. Light so real it hurt to look at. Her pulse thundered. This wasn't circus decoration. This was art. Real, old, expensive art. She turned toward the endless walls of stitched canvas and whispered, "How many more?" The tent didn't answer, but in its stillness something ancient seemed to listen. Later, as dusk bled into night, Marcus handed her a small leather book. "Your uncle said you'd come. Said to give you this when you were ready." The cover was cracked, the pages yellowed, the ink faded but alive. Rachel read by flashlight, her breath catching at the words. "The story of the Celestial Brothers Circus is a story of courage disguised as entertainment." The entries told of Europe, 1938, of performers who smuggled art out of Nazi-occupied cities, sewing paintings between the tent's layers. They'd carried culture itself across borders, masterpieces hidden under grease paint and laughter. Each stitch a rebellion, each patch a promise. Her great-uncle had been their final guardian, preserving what they'd risked their lives to save. Rachel looked up from the journal at the towering shadow of the tent, at the silent walls that had cradled these secrets for 70 years. It was no longer a curiosity or inheritance. It was a confession, whispered through time. And now the responsibility and the choice belonged to her. Morning light filtered through the canvas as Rachel and Marcus worked side by side, uncovering layer after layer. Paintings slid from seams like ghosts stepping into sunlight. Portraits of mothers and children, landscapes alive with color, abstract dreams frozen in brushstrokes. 93 works in total, each one extraordinary. Some bore names she recognized from college art history: Chagall, Kandinsky, Klee, names that shouldn't have been possible. Her hands trembled with every discovery. Her uncle's second journal lay open beside her, his careful words slicing through her heart. Preservation without purpose is just another form of burial. He'd wrestled with what to do for 40 years, torn between morality and survival. Now Rachel faced the same torment. She could sell even one and lift her daughter Emma out of poverty forever, or she could give them back, return what the world had lost. The paintings stared at her, silent witnesses to her turmoil. Doing the right thing had never paid the bills. But for the first time she felt something bigger than desperation, a weight heavier than debt. The weight of history waiting for her answer. It began with an article. A historian leaked word of the lost Circus vault, and within 48 hours Rachel's life imploded. News trucks jammed the rural road. Strangers with cameras shouted questions. Emma's school went into lockdown. Everyone wanted a piece of her secret. So Rachel did the only thing she could, and she told the truth. Standing before the tent, reporters flashing bulbs like lightning, she said, "These paintings don't belong to me. They belong to the families who risked everything to save them." The crowd fell silent. Then a frail woman stepped forward, trembling, tears streaking her cheeks. "My grandmother was Eva Goldberg. You have her portrait." Rachel brought the woman inside. Beneath the patchwork glow she unveiled the Chagall, the woman at the window. Ruth Goldberg Meyer wept, whispering, she gave it to them so her face would survive. The cameras captured that embrace, and the image would circle the world. That moment, a waitress returning a masterpiece to its rightful heir, became a symbol of hope. Proof that even buried truth can still rise through the ashes of time. What followed was chaos turned to purpose. Families arrived from across the world, clutching letters, documents, fragments of lost heritage. Each claim brought tears, stories, closure. Rachel founded the Celestial Brothers Memorial Museum, built around the tent itself. Its patched canvas preserved under glass like holy fabric. Inside, paintings once sewn in darkness now hung in light. Scholars confirmed what history had forgotten. The Celestial Brothers had saved not only art, but people, smuggling 43 children out of occupied Europe beneath the guise of circus acts. One of those children, now grown, turned out to be Dr. Miriam Rosenberg, the art historian Rachel had hired. When she recognized her own face in an old photograph, the tent seemed to breathe. "They didn't just save paintings," Miriam whispered. "They saved me." And with that revelation, the museum's mission deepened. It wasn't only about art. It was about the defiant humanity of those who believed beauty was worth dying for. Months later, a letter arrived from Solomon Rothschild, grandson of one of the rescued collectors. "You could have sold them," he wrote. "Instead, you gave the world back what it had lost." The families created a restitution fund, 5% of every artwork's value, half for Rachel, half for the museum. The number staggered her, millions. Enough to erase struggle, enough to build a future. But Rachel knew her wealth wasn't in the numbers. It was in the faces of the families reunited with their pasts. It was in Emma's laughter echoing through their modest new home, in the warmth of doing what her uncle never could, letting the truth breathe. The museum became a global symbol. Students visited from every continent. Survivors touched the tent and wept. Even those who had once hated or doubted her came to see that decency, when guarded long enough, can outlast greed. Under the glass dome, the circus tent gleamed like a lantern against the snow, its once hidden stripes glowing with pride. Years passed. The circus tent still stood, no longer a vault for secrets, but a cathedral for truth. Rachel often walked its length before dawn, when light seeped through the old canvas like memory through time. Emma, now grown, guided tours through the museum, her voice confident and clear. "My mom didn't find treasure," she told visitors. She found the truth, and she shared it. The world called it the Celestial Effect, one woman's decision igniting a movement of restitution and remembrance across continents. As violins played the music once performed by the rescued artists, Rachel whispered to the tent, "You kept them safe. Now we keep your story alive." The air shimmered with warmth as if the ghosts of acrobats and painters still danced within. In that glow, Rachel understood her true inheritance, not money, not fame, but purpose. A legacy of courage stitched into the fabric of time. And as you listen now, remember, history only lives if we keep telling it. So if this story moved you, share it, like it, and subscribe for more tales of hidden light found in forgotten places. Because somewhere out there, another secret still waits to be uncovered. And another ordinary soul will choose to do something extraordinary.